I mean, who could have guessed that a KFC was gonna become the mecca for anime shonen fans? Manga readers. That's who could have guessed. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just seen one of the top 5 probably most iconic breakups in anime. The montages with the song buildups, it seems like right now we're in the pinnacle of everything. The Satoru Suguru ship has never had more people on board than right now, and everyone's sinking with the ship voluntarily.
You talk to me, Suguru. Have me wishing I were gone. Satoru.
But right now, I can easily say that I've been absolutely adoring Season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. It's been absolutely wonderful and gorgeous and stunning. How many buzzwords can we fit into this? I can easily admit that I was the kind of guy that really wasn't all too interested in Season 1 of this series. I thought that it was really paint by numbers, making the most digestible shonen that most people could enjoy. And I really didn't see or really feel all too hyped up in Season 1. My opinion of the series completely changed once I watched Zero. I think that's the first time I noticed that this series was more than just a basic shonen. It instantly reeled me in. I love Yuta and Rika's dynamic, and I loved seeing more of Gojo's backstory, which we see a hell of a lot more of it here. This entire first arc that we've gotten here, Hidden Inventory, Premature Death, has been fantastic. It's exactly what I've been looking for since Season 1. Characters that I feel have actual presence. This is fantastic character development that we've gotten so far for our entire older cast, and it just makes me a lot more invested in the story. I already said it, but the dynamic between Gojo and Geto has just been amazing. It's something you can really feel. And this emphasis on both of them going on this mission just makes it so much more heartbreaking when you go back to rewatch things like the movie. I'm an anime only, so I try to keep myself away from spoilers as much as I can. And yeah, I know how impossible of a task that really is. But there were still some scenes and some things that would catch me by surprise every once in a while. Riko is a character that was manufactured specifically so that you would like them. They're meant to get your attention and make you just feel for them, which makes scenes like this completely devastating. And to add on to the scene's effect, I'm someone that got spoiled to hell about this entire sequence here. I've seen this panel hundreds of times before I've seen the episode, but I still recoiled seeing that on screen. The way that they build up the tension and the atmosphere here was just brilliant, especially with playing up the ED. They knew exactly how to get people that were just anime onlys. After it finished, I still felt that impact as though I'd seen it for the first time. I give Mappa and the whole creative team a huge round of applause because they've absolutely nailed it this season. They know exactly what they need to do to pull on your heartstrings. Now, I would say something that's a huge positive for this season is the big leap that they've done for the animation. Every episode in this tries something completely different than the ones that came before. Like, just take, for example, the first episode. I don't know exactly what technique they've done with this mansion. It's not like rotoscoping or anything like that. It's something like with 3D mapping maybe, but it really adds to the whole vibe that they got going on for the first few minutes of it. Elevating it from just being a static background, giving it more life. And then immediately it was juxtaposed with chibi characters. I really like these different takes that they're doing because it really shows that they're not afraid to really take risks when it comes to the creative process. They're doing this because they want to build a certain atmosphere and they also want to be faithful to the source material. And they don't think that they have to stick to just one specific style to really do this. And I would dare to say that the fight sequences in this look smoother than ever. I know that's kind of a bold claim to say because a lot of people think that Jujutsu Kaisen's animation, especially when it comes to the fight sequences, is next level. It looks legendary already. But I think they were absolutely able to one-up themselves on this too. Any scene that has Toji in it is pretty much guaranteed to end up being iconic. Now I know why everyone I've ever met that's read the series has just been fangirling about him. You know, it makes sense. But this guy absolutely destroys every single thing that he encounters, and he does it so gracefully as well. And all without zero cursed energy. That's just badass. He's a character that you absolutely love to hate. The best kinds of villains, to be honest with you, which means that the resolution just feels so much more splendid. That and the fact that Gojo and the audience is filled with a sense of revenge. The satisfaction criteria was definitely met here. I don't really know why so many people have been so butthurt about the animation aesthetic in this. I mean, what else do you really want? If you want something that's going to be a one-to-one identical representation of the manga, stick to the manga. The anime is going to do its best to replicate it, imitate it, and do what it can, but it's not going to be able to just do a one-to-one recreation of it. Maybe it's due to the shot composition not working out as well as they want, or maybe it's because they want to tell the story a little bit differently. I don't think Gojo's iconic line was ruined by the animation aesthetic. Not at all. Both takes are fantastic and stunning in their own right. It's just a slightly different way of doing things. The way that the story progresses is done beautifully as well, and we gotta give credit to the original mangaka's work here because the story of Suguru, just entire downfall, is perfection. His confidence, his ideals, his relationships, everything is shattered once Riko dies in front of him. Him realizing that Gojo and him weren't the strongest just completely breaks him. And from seeing that cold, merciless guy in the movie, he becomes this really sympathetic villain. You know, I just think to myself, what if he wasn't just egged on by that god-awful But no matter what, it really opened his eyes, and he decided that that was what he wanted to do for pretty much the rest of his life. Try and rid the world of non-curse users, so pretty much everyone. And his reasoning is something that you do understand. But something that is so perfect as well is how they portray the breakup, the one that's in front of the KFC, the new mecca of anime. Because what they've done in this series so far is show you two completely opposing views of the same event. And Jujutsu Kaisen 0, we see Gojo's point of view, where he sees this as though it's a dark, somber moment. He hates everything about this. It's probably the darkest point in his life so far. He's losing probably the most important connection that he has in his entire life. His best friend has become something that he doesn't recognize in the slightest. And he has to face the reality of not being able to be with them anymore. That life has just completely taken them in two completely different directions, and Gojo's gonna also have to choose what he wants to do. Meanwhile, in this series, we don't get that same point of view. Yeah, is it still a little somber? Are there still notes of sadness in this? Of course, but in Suguru's point of view, this is a moment of relief. This is him becoming himself. It's seen by how the lighting is so much brighter. This actually shows us that it was taken in probably like later in the day, not in the dead of night like we were led to assume in Gojo's point of view. This atmosphere that's built here isn't built on despair, but hope instead. Suguru has found his calling, and he knows what he has to do because he now has his own ideals and his own principles on what he thinks are right. You could probably point out the symbolism in both of these scenes all day, but I'm not just gonna sit here and do that. But I still point and smile at the part that they did this in front of a KFC, because I don't think anyone could have done better advertising for KFC if they ever tried. Why'd they have to do so many different variations of Colonel Sanders if they could have just shown this one scene? I actually wish that this arc over here lasted a bit longer. And in fact, I honestly wouldn't be opposed to there being a spin-off that's just based off of this time period in specific. I think there's a lot of potential in terms of the story that can be done here, even if we saw the resolution of everything. It's just still very interesting to see. And I do think that since this is kind of short, it kind of went through things kind of quick. Nanami and Yu's entire dynamic isn't something that we really see all too much of, and then at the end we just kind of see Nanami grieving over Yu's body. I just wish we saw a little bit more of that, because it also happens so quick that my brother, who I was watching this with, even asked whose body that was. He didn't make the connection that it was the same guy that Suguru was talking to a few scenes prior. But that's just one of the few things I have a little grievance with, that I just wish it was a little bit longer. But I'm certain that this is probably identical to how it was in the manga. Now we have to wait a few more weeks so that the story can resume. And yeah, I know, Shibuya is supposedly gonna be the best arc in this entire story. It's gonna be dark, it's gonna be gritty, a lot of people are gonna drop the story because it's gonna be so shocking. I get it all. The manga fans have been saying it for goddamn years. Yeah, it's a lot of hype going into this, and going in knowing what I know, yeah, it's gonna be pretty fucking amazing. It just sucks that we're gonna have to wait weeks to get this. And this little break, we're gonna get a little recap episode that's for the movie, you know, for everyone that missed it, and then at the end of the month, it all starts back up again. But you know, maybe if we're being optimistic, MAP is treating this like a little break for their animators. Maybe they get to relax a little bit. What am I thinking? They're probably getting their animators to work double time, you know, really haul ass to get this animation as perfect as it can be. And it's gonna be gorgeous no matter what. So, I gotta admit, I am kind of hyped for what's to come. As always, I was Bayfond, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.